My name is Tom Lilly. I'm the CEO here at Global Sense. I've been here for 7.5 years now. Prior to that, I was at OpenText for 18 years. On the call with me is Jeff Lang, our CTO and founder of Global Sense. He's been here for 15 years, and before that, he spent a lifetime at OpenText. And with us as well is Pierre Nusserau. He's our chief scientist, and he's been with us for 8 years, I believe. And before that, he spent about 10 years at OpenText. Today, we're going to cover why most ECM systems fail to deliver on expectations. There's many reasons why that can happen. We're going to focus on 3 of them: usability, functionality, and change control, how to get improvements into the system quickly. We're going to continue this series and do some additional blogs and other presentations on other reasons why ECM systems fail. So one of the first reasons they fail is comes down to usability or user adoption. For this, we have added some features and functions using our products to enhance user adoption by increasing email notifications and offering better display views, making it a better user experience and making it more friendly for the organization. I don't think we can understate how important user adoption is, and getting your people together, understanding what the system is and how it can help them and do their jobs better. Another way to make that happen is by having dashboards available. So we're going to show you our dashboard product and how it can help you keep your users focused so that they can stay on a particular task or working in their environment and have the information available to them in context so that they can easily move around Content Suite. And then next up is Power Reports, how to bring relevant data to the user community so that they'll understand what they need to do. So these are just some examples of emails that can be created from the system. We can create these emails with whatever information you want to have in them. They can also be set to auto repeat after a given amount of time. So after 3 days or 5 days, if a task still hasn't been worked on, you can have the system auto-generate emails. One of the nice things about what our emails allow you to do is actually embed the link to the workflow tasks that a user might need to be working on, plus give them more context about what they're doing and why they need to work on this. The display view, what we're showing there is we're able to pull a lot of different bits and pieces of information onto a single screen, allowing users an easier, more simplified user experience. One thing I do want to point out when we're talking about the Global Sense PowerTools, it's truly a point-click configure environment is what we've gone for. So whether we're working with workflows or our document automation tools, the viewer, whatever it might be, we offer the ability so that it's easy for the end users, for administrators to configure the system. There's no customizations. It's truly a point-click configure tool set. This is an example of one of our dashboards, and we're going to go into a live demo here shortly. Um, this dashboard is displaying a perspective. Up in the corner here, you can see you can have multiple dashboards. So we've got a control document lifecycle dashboard, a document publishing dashboard, an HR dashboard. If you had a QMS system running, you could add that here. There's a whole variety of dashboards that you can have. I've got the one selected for control document lifecycle, so the relevant parts of that application show up on the left-hand side. And we'll go into more details around different types of dashboards. The demonstration we're going to provide for you is all dashboard driven, and it's a very, again, simple way to allow the end users an easier interface into Content Suite. And this is supported whether it's in Smart UI or the classic UI. Here are some examples of Power Reports. And the key when you're creating reports for folks is to have the relevant information that they're looking for. Our reports not only allow you to pick what information you want to provide, but each of the columns are filterable, so you can type in specific information to reduce the amount of entries that you have to look through, as well as each column is independently sortable, so you can have ascending or descending orders. You can also notice at the bottom here, I know it's kind of an eye chart, but our reports can also be exported to Excel so that you can use them outside of Content Server quickly and easily. Next up is functionality. When we talk about functionality, it's hard for us to show you all the features and functions we can do in workflow. We've got over 250 or 300 different features and functions we've added to the workflow system. Things like auto escalation, auto completion. We can pretty much automate whatever your business process is with the point-click configure system that we've created. What I'm going to show you today is our document automation system. Our document automation system allows you to do things like merge Word documents. So, for example, we're going to send out a document for review. It's going to go to 5 people. It's going to go to all 5 of them simultaneously. They're going to do redlining inside of the document and then send that back to the author. Instead of the author having to try to sort out all 5 individual documents and merge them back into one, we have a system that allows you to automatically merge those 5 documents back into one. And then the author has the ability to review that document in its entirety. So all of the different components are all put together for them, and they can see just the merged document. Another cool feature of our document publishing tool set is the ability to insert metadata, documents, images, all into Word documents. So what this allows you to do is have a template, and in that template you can have a placeholder for things like the scope or the mission or a set of instructions that repeats over and over again, and you can reference another document inside of Content Server. The same can be true for images, for metadata. All of that can be put into the template so that you can generate the document whenever you'd like. This allows you to separate out those other components that might change more frequently and allow you to generate one document. This gives you a much more flexible system, allowing you to reuse components. Another feature that we offer is like the ability to create books. So books are a way of combining a whole variety of different document types, whether it's the Office documents, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. whether it's CAD drawings, whether it's images, PDF files, over 300 different document types we can insert into books, and allowing you to then create chapters and subchapters. We respect bookmarks that you may have created in other tools like Adobe. All of those can be brought into the system, allowing you to create a very powerful user experience when it comes to looking at that book. We have the ability to split it up into volumes. We'll go into a lot more detail when we get to that point. So what does it look like? So for merging documents, this is an example where it was sent out to 4 different reviewers, and then the system was able to auto-create a single document. None of those users actually had track changes turned on, but the system was able to turn it on for them when we merge the documents together. And you can see the different users, reviewer 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, all made changes to the document. Now the author can go back and review those changes and accept the ones that they want, reject the ones that they do not want, other features and functions like that, all a part of this merge document capability. This is an example of the automated document creation. You can see in the background the template where within inside of the angle brackets you've got just placeholders for where information will come from content server, whether it's metadata or whether it's the actual documents or images themselves. We can then insert those when we do a build process to then auto-generate this document. This is an example of the book that I was talking about. There's a variety of different document types in this example, whether it's Word, whether it's PowerPoint, PDF, CAD drawings. And then from that, you can create PDF files that allow you to, again, have table of contents, headers, footers, watermarks, different stylings. Last on our list of things to talk about today is how do we get improvements into the system quickly? Whether it's folder structures, permissions, taxonomy, specific objects that you may want to move from one environment to the next, whether it's module settings for people who are deploying like engineering documents, ECM for SAP, records management, others. Our system has the ability to copy all of that information from one environment to the next. And when we say anywhere, any version, we truly mean whether it's on cloud, on-prem, or in the cloud. There's no version or database restrictions. So you can take an environment that's running SQL and move that into an environment that's running Oracle or Postgres, etc. So for this, it really allows organizations to speed up their deployment times. So allowing you to make those changes, and especially for organizations that are doing the rapid deployment cycles when you're trying to do sprints and put in incremental changes along the way, this allows you to do that very quickly. We have examples of engineering documents, for example, where it takes 2 weeks to configure the ASM and CRT information. With our solution, it takes minutes. We did an example for a customer. What would have taken 2 weeks by hand took 37 minutes for us to do in our environment. It truly is a game changer. So with the module settings, as well as any of the object types which OpenText creates, and we also have the ability to move objects from other companies. We're working with them to, as long as their objects were created with the OpenText style guide, we're able to move them from one environment to the next as well. So not only does this save you time, does it save energy and effort, documentation, requirements, but it reduces the human error as well. This is a great eye chart showing the 239 different object types. By the way, we will also send out this presentation, so you don't have to try to take notes. I should have said that earlier. But from simple things like folders to more complicated things like transmittals, all of that kind of information, we're able to move from one environment to the next. We've also have the ability to do the module settings. This is an example from engineering documents where we're able to take information from one environment to the next. And here's where we're talking about anywhere, any version. So our products work all the way back on the 9.7.1 LiveLink version, all the way up to the most current 20.4 release that just came out. I think it was last week or early this week. We can run, whether it's Oracle, SQL Server, Postgres. We're going to be certifying our V22 release coming out early next year to certify it with Postgres, but it's fully supported today. And as I mentioned earlier, this can be an on-premise solution or an in the cloud solution or a hybrid if you want to move information from on-prem to in the cloud or back and forth. Our products are OpenText cloud certified so that you can run them in the OpenText cloud as well. From an architecture perspective, our products work on top of Content Suite and extended ECM platform. So whether you have engineering docs or extended ECM for SAP, etc., our products layer on top of those that platform, and then you can create applications or solutions on top of that. During the demonstration, we're going to be showing you information about the usability, the functionality, and a bit about the change control. And we're going to be focusing our examples around a couple of our different solutions, our controlled document lifecycle solution, as well as our document automation solution. We've done webinars specifically about those different solutions, and you can view them on YouTube. There's links to those off of our website, globalsense.com. And again, you'll get this presentation as well as the slides later when they become available. So what I'm going to do now is switch to a live demo. And I'm guaranteed it's a live demo because I'm sure something's going to go sideways, but we're gonna give it a go here. So to start off, I wanted to show that email that we were talking about earlier. So this is an example of an email that can be created that would give specific information, and it will be automated for all the different user steps that you have within a workflow. You can have it really specific, whatever you want to put in here. And the beauty of it is when you click the link, it will actually take you right to Content Suite and right to the specific workflow tasks that you might have. So this particular system is set up that we're in the process of reviewing this document. So I'm able to download it. I could make any changes to it. I happen to be running on a Mac. If I was running on a Windows box, I'd have an edit link here, so I could automatically edit the document and send it on. But the really nice thing about this is your user community can get an email asking them to do something. You can be specific in the subject line, you can have the details in the body of the message, and you can have a link that'll take them right to the task assignment. So they won't be confused about where they need to go, what they need to do. I'm now going to jump into some of the other items we want to display here. So this is our dashboard system. And I'm going to be running the demonstration through the dashboard and showing you how we can access our different features. This works whether it's in Smart UI or Classic. I'm showing this in Classic, but I'll show it in Smart UI here in a few minutes. What I wanted to start with is showing off different display views. So for us, a display view is a different way of displaying the user interface that would be hopefully more likable, understandable, intuitive to your user community. And basically, we can add whatever type of user experience that you're looking for, again, with some JavaScript and some HTML layered on top of our product. So this is our out-of-the-box control document lifecycle solution, where you can have a variety of different metadata showing up on the system. You can add documents, you can have links going to other documents within the system. There's a whole lot of different functionality that you have, and as a creator of a document, you can pick who the authors are, the reviewer, the approver. So this is the basic look and feel of our baseline CDL. What I want to show you quickly here is what this same one would look like. Apologize, I have to jump to a different browser. What this same one would look like in an enhanced mode. So this is that same workflow, but now we've enhanced it. We've given it a more interesting general information tab. We started out in our basic one with about 12 metadata elements. This is now showing something more like 32 different metadata elements. You have the ability to put in information and it will automatically fill other values along the way. So it's allowing you to have more of a wizard-like feel to it. We can specify specific locations inside of Content Server. So if you're pulling up information and you know the logos are all in a specific folder, you can point to that particular folder and go to them. These are all pull-down lists, and you can search on them to help you find information quicker. Different fields are available based on what you've selected. All of this, again, is just a configuration based off of that default one that I showed you here. So it can be as simple as something like this, or more complicated or enhanced like this one. Some other examples of a display view. Some people like this styling better, where it's more of a scrolling. You can pull information, and there's a variety of category form values on here. It's not just one form, but it's multiple forms that we're pulling information in. This is a different approach to the tabbed user interface, where you can go through and find information. And then this is what we call our modern user interface. Again, showing you different information along the way, more of a scrolling approach as opposed to a tabbed approach. So these are just some examples of different display views, user interfaces that can be placed on top of workflows and other parts of Content Suite to give the users a better user experience. Now let's jump into Power Reports. The Power Reports can be created sorry, live demo. That's not where that one is supposed to go. We'll go back to the workflow assignments in a minute. So this, that's what we were supposed to do. I apologize. So this is to just give you an idea of what a standard OpenText out of the box assignments would look like in standard content suite. We've taken that and we've created our own workflow assignments to give you more information. And as I mentioned earlier, you might want to sort this and limit the information so that it would be easier for you to find the task that you might be interested in working on. So you can filter on all the columns. You could actually filter on multiple columns. So if you were looking for initiator, and then you said, well, I need more than just that. I want to look for other ways to sort the information down. You can see it continues to filter, and you can filter on multiple columns. You can also then sort any of the columns that you have available along the way. You can have these hot links. So once you found the information you're looking for, you can have it click right through and go to whatever it is that you might be looking for. In this case, it happens to be a workflow assignments page. We have other reports that come with our control document lifecycle solution, a workflow status report, which allows you to find out where workflows are at, what step of the process they're in. Maybe they're in the doc review or they're in setup. We also have a linkage to go right to the particular workflows as needed. If there was a problem, you could come in here and identify it and then go to that particular workflow and sort out whatever problem it might be. You can find currently approved documents. So this is a list of all of the documents that are in the system that have been approved. And you can find out what version they're on, who's the document owner, when their next review cycle is coming up. All of that information is available. You can also not only just do table views, but you can do charts as well. And you can have the charts clickable and go into further information as you would like. One of the nice things about our Power Reports is you can use search results, you can use live reports, you can use web reports, all as different data sources to go into our Power Reports. And because we can bring all of those different information sources into one, we're able to improve performance when it comes to different reporting. We've been able to help customers who had reports that were taking 20 to 30 minutes to generate, and by using a Power Report and having the ability to have multiple live reports as different data sources, we're able to pull that information in, and it took less than 30 seconds. So very powerful in helping you present the right information to the users at the right time. And then next up, the dashboard itself. So this, I've been doing the demonstration. One of the things we can do when we're doing the demo, using the dashboard, is you can collapse the dashboard so that you want to have more real estate on the screen. You can also switch to different dashboards. So I'm currently on the demo dashboard. I could go to the HR dashboard, and then I'd have information available here that would allow me to do different benefits. I could request time off. I could look at my benefits. I could do some training, that kind of information. We can look at our control document lifecycle solution. Again, it can be done here in classic UI, or we can go into Smart UI, and we can open this up in this type of a user interface, allowing folks to have access. One of the powers of being able to have classic UI and Smart UI interchanged is if there's some functionality that you might be missing based on the Smart UI, you could have a specific location where you could go to where you could get to the classic UI and let the users do whatever it is they might want to do. So inside of this this window, you're able to use the system however it was intended. So for example, if we're in the Smart UI here, we can go and click through these and do whatever it is we might need to do. And it stays in the Smart UI context as opposed to jumping here and being in the classic UI context. So allowing different functionality to happen along the way. So that's our dashboard. So those are just some examples of different usability features that you can add to Content Suite to enhance your users' adoption rate. Next up, we're going to talk about functionality. And as I mentioned, it's challenging for us to show you all the cool things that we can do inside of our workflow system. But what we're going to do is jump to our document automation, which is a little easier for us to demonstrate. So I'm going to switch over to the document publishing and go in. Again, we can handle a variety of different file types. It's about 300 different input sources you can use. I'm going to start off with the merging of content. So in this example, we have a variety of different files that have been edited. So you've got the base document, and then it's been sent to a variety of different users. So Phil made some edits along the way, and you can see strike through some information. What I'm showing you here is just our viewer. Pierre did some edits here, the system. I did some edits. And then Jeff did some edits. Once all of those edits are collected, either just by putting them into a folder like we're showing here, or you could do this as part of a workflow process. You can even just edit one single document and continue to add different versions on top of it, so you don't have to have your individual documents here. It's as simple as running a builder process that then generates this document, which has all of the edits in them as one. So let me show you that. So you can see here, I inserted information, Phil inserted information, Pierre inserted information, and then as the author, I can go into track changes and go through each one of these to make sure I can accept or reject instead of having to go through Chris's document and Phil's document. And sometimes they've made changes to the same exact line or word, and I can see what those are, and then I can accept whichever one I find most valuable. And as I mentioned, this can be done as part of a workflow process, which we've included as part of our controlled document lifecycle solution, or it can be done just at the folder level, whether it's adding them to the folder like this with different names, so they're individual documents, or you could just add versions to the one document and then run the process from there. So that's the the merging of documents. Next, I want to talk about is how we can insert documents into a template to auto-generate a new document. So for that, I'm going to go here. Okay. So in this demonstration, I'm going to start with showing you the original template. This is just a Word document that was put into Content Suite. And these are those placeholders that we had talked about, where you can bring in metadata into the system. You can actually bring in the version number, the date it was approved, the description, who the author is. All of that kind of information can be brought in to generate this document. You can then also bring in other Word documents, like for the purpose and the scope. You can bring in table information from other documents, procedures, images, all kinds of information can be brought into this document. And those documents are stored in Content Server. This is the purpose. Here's the scope. Here's an example of the some of the table information that we're going to pull in. Here's an example of the images that we're going to pull in. And once you've got this set up, again, you run the document process and it generates this document. So now we have a completed document that was automatically generated. It has filled in the information. This was part of the controlled document lifecycle solution. So it from the workflow, it got the document name, it got who the document owner was, it inserted the number of pages based on how big the document ended up being after all of those sub-documents were added to it. We added a watermark to it. We gave it the effective date. Footers were put on the document, as well as, if you noticed here at the bottom, the approval approved on and what version it was all added. I can jump to the table of contents, and this is all hot linked. Again, I'm showing this in our browser. You could download it. You could open it up in Brava. It would all work the same. At the end of when the document's created, it's just a standard Word document. But this purpose was actually pulled from that other document called purpose. And the scope was pulled from the other document called scope. If we went back and looked, this information, training, was already in the document, but the tables were both added, as well as these images were added, and this information here, the JPEG samples, were all added. So it allows you a very powerful way of creating documents automatically based on templates, and that way you can take a more segmented approach of storing your information. The information that's going to change, you can keep track of that, and then whenever you generate a new document, it will always bring the latest versions. You can even have it set up to run reports so that if one of the sub-documents changes, you can find out where it was used and regenerate those documents that are affected. So that's the merged documents. I'm sorry, inserting metadata and documents into a single system. Next up, I'm going to jump back to this system and show you the book capabilities that we have. So similar to inserting metadata and documents into a single document, which is a little restricted at the moment. You can only use Word documents and JPEGs and for your input sources. A book doesn't have that restriction. Any kind of document can be inserted into a book. So these, again, this good faith document, this is actually a shortcut pointing to that particular document. All of these items in here are shortcuts. You can either manually create books or you can automatically create books. In this example, we got information from SAP after a product was sold and a bill of material was passed through the extended ECM for SAP capabilities. We got that bill of materials. We were able to identify all of the part numbers and serial numbers from that bill of material and then interrogate content server to identify all of the documents that matched that criteria. We were then able to put them into the book, and we created these subsections based on the hierarchy they were stored inside of content server. So the book can be auto-generated as other products are sold. The SAP system hands over the bill of materials to content server. We have a workflow engine that picks it up and then auto-generates these documents and sends them to a review and a approval cycle. And to give you a look at what one of these would look like in Adobe, this is that same manufacturer records book, happened to be showing a diagram of a CAD drawing that's inside of it, but all of the information that you get created here virtually ends up in your PDF. And of course, everything is hot linked, so you can go from your table of contents to a specific part of the document. If there were bookmarks already in any of these source documents, they get brought through to this final PDF. And as I mentioned earlier, we keep track of how big the document gets. And if it starts getting too large, right, the information inside it is too large, you can actually split the document into multiple versions. And that's what this split capability allows you to do. So now this book becomes smaller, as you saw that number decreased. And now this is the new part for the second volume. So you can manually pick where you want to split your books so that you can have multiple volumes. We also have other capabilities like what do you want to see in the table of contents? Do you want to pull in the documents table of contents? You can have a cover page. Each of the sections can have their own cover pages. It's a very versatile solution that is highly configurable to meet your individual document publishing needs. So that's book creation. So next up, I want to show you is the change control management. So now you have all these cool new features and functions, and you've put them in your dev system, and now you need to get them to your test environment and ultimately into your production environment. And your team is telling you that it's going to take weeks for those changes to get imported from your dev environment to your test environment, and then from test to production. Well, with our tool, GCI PowerTools for deployments, that no longer takes days or weeks. It can take minutes to do those imports. So whether it's importing the actual information from one environment to the other, you can pull all the 239 different object types that are part of the OpenText platform, as well as third-party objects from one environment to the next. You can also bring those module settings that we were talking about. On my system here, we don't have engineering documents, but we do have records management. So I could bring the RM information, the security clearances, all of our products are available, as well as like the automated document numbering. Um, those kind of module settings we can capture from one environment and um, import them into the next. All right. So we went through the usability, we went through functionality, we went through change control. Those are just some examples of why ECM systems would fail. Other examples of failure could be based on performance or reliability. We're going to continue this why ECM systems fail by doing some partner sessions. Reveille, for example, has a solution that monitors your system and allows you to keep track of those types of issues, whether it's a reliability or a performance system issue. So in closing, about us, we've been a partner with OpenText since the beginning, so over 15 years now. We are a Platinum SolEx partner, and most of us have been working in this in the OpenText space for 25 years now, so we've got a lot of experience. Here's information about myself. Feel free to email me or call me if you'd like additional information. Happy to help. Okay. Well, we'll stay on for a few more minutes. I do appreciate all of your time today, and we'll again make the presentation available shortly. And have a great rest of the day. You can stop the recording if you'd like to.